Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is J.R. Moore coming to you live from the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks on Tuesday, the 12th day of December, year of our Lord 2017. Welcome to the John Moore Show. And proper tip of the day, we got some time to talk about this morning. I haven't talked about this in any detail in quite a while. Proper tip of the day is to get yourself a copy of the book titled The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. It is a free download at my website at thelibertyman.com. Although once you find out it's over 300 pages, you might just want to get your very own copy delivered to your door by Amazon for $5.49. Since the copyright's long expired, it is a free download at my website. Just scroll down the right side of my homepage, and you'll see it stand alone there, just above concealed carry training. The book titled The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Excuse me. Okay. We're going to have open lines also. I'm going to tell my story about my involvement with the power of my subconscious mind. I have a goal this morning. The goal is to educate and inform and hopefully get some of you folks to take some action. I think that would be a good thing. The book was published, I believe, about the time I was a senior in high school. Let's see if I can get the publication date here. And let's see, Bantam Books, original publication date. Well, I'm not seeing it here. It's not jumping off the page at me. Oh, here we go, 1963. So I would have been a freshman in high school. As I sometimes say, if I'd gotten a copy of this book 50 years ago and read it and comprehended it and incorporated these principles to my life, well, there's no telling where I would be right now. But I'm satisfied with where I am, but my life could have certainly gone some different directions. First of all, for all you Christians out there, the majority of my listeners are Christian, Dr. Murphy was a pastor, a Christian pastor. He had a huge following. Thousands of people went to his sermons on Sundays. The author of 30 books, a brilliant man, a man who traveled around the planet lecturing and attempting to help people get the information that he wanted to get to them. Well, let's start with John Moore's story. The summer of 1965, I surrendered my life to Jesus and brought Jesus into my heart. And became I guess you could say, a young adult Christian at that point in time. Then we had a youth pastor at the church I was going to, and he had a very powerful message. And I surrendered to Jesus and was baptized that summer as a young adult. The summer of 1965, I would have turned 17 years old? Yeah, 17. No, 18. Excuse me, 18. Yeah. Young adult. It was just before my 18th birthday. Fast forward a few weeks. Now, my academic career in high school was lackluster for reasons I won't go into. It was that fall of 1965 that I figured out, my very mature 18-year-old brain figured out what I had been doing as opposed to what I should be doing, and I finally took my academic studies seriously. In the meantime, I was quite the athlete. I was competing in a state track meet. That's the year of 1965, the state outdoor track meet, and was a football player. So I'm in summer football practice that summer, August of 1965, when I suffered a knee injury. My left knee got dislocated. In fact, the knee, if you hold your knee up, it should go backwards. When you pick it up, you can lift your knee backwards. I assure you, all of you, that given enough force in the form of about 500 pounds of muscle and bone from two different players, one hitting high, one hitting low, I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that knee can in fact go the other direction, give it enough force, which it did. Now, if that injury happens to a football player these days, it's media attention by the coaches, probably a trip to the hospital to have it x-rayed and healthcare professionals look it over, and so forth. Well, back then, the coach said, let me limp off the field unassisted. I hopped off the field. I couldn't put any weight on it, obviously. And there was nobody looking at it. None of the coaches looked at it. There was no trip to the hospital, no x-rays. I simply had my buddy drive my British sports car home because I couldn't operate the automobile. I obviously couldn't operate the clutch. And that was it. That was it. So athletics and football was one of the top priorities for John Moore as an 18-year-old, soon-to-be high school senior that coming up that fall. And I was devastated because it was such a big part of my life at the time. And I was praying for healing. I was focused on healing. My entire persona, my entire consciousness was focused on healing that knee so I could get back on the field with my teammates and be playing the first game, which took place probably the second or third week of September. In fact, I recall the first week or two of school, I was literally hopping on one foot. I couldn't put any weight on it. We had a schoolhouse that had, the high school had 3 stories, no elevator. And I didn't have a cane or a crutch, and I had to hop up the steps and down the steps because I couldn't put any weight on that left foot. Regardless, I was healed and able to get back in full contact football before the first game. I was a starting defensive end and a starting offensive fullback. And we had a good season. We had a season of 7 wins and 3 losses, which was actually not that good given the school's records, but overall for most schools that would have been a good record. Football season came and went. Indoor track season came. I was competing successfully in track, and then a month or 2 after that, I broke the existing record for my high school in the 100-yard dash, broke the record for the 220-yard dash, and equaled the county record for the 100-yard dash at the same time. Point being, I went from an injury so severe I couldn't walk to equaling the county record for the 100-yard dash in about 6 months, a 6-month period of time. At the time, I didn't realize how extraordinary that was. It wasn't until I was a mature adult many years later that I came to comprehend how unique and how special it would be to go from a dislocated knee so severe I couldn't walk on it for weeks to the point where I was tying the county track record for the 100-yard dash. And of course, I went on to the state track meet where I was the 18th fastest young man in the state of Missouri in the 100-yard dash in the state track meet. I didn't know it at the time, but what I was doing was implementing the principles that are in this book by Dr. Joseph Murphy, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Now, if you're a student of these matters, you'll know that there's probably 2 to 3 dozen books of a similar genre that attempt to teach you similar principles. Majority of them don't do what this. There's a couple that do. Majority of them don't do what this do, which is the following. Dr. Murphy gives you specific instruction on how to implement these ideas. Majority's books saying it would be great if you could do this and you'll accomplish great things, but they don't give you specific, detailed instructions. This book does. Now, there's over the centuries, there have been many, many thousands of millions, I guess you could say, if you talk about centuries, millions of people that have been quite successful in their chosen career, whatever that chosen career might be, whether it be business, finance, farming, construction work, being a lawyer or a doctor or an accountant, whatever it might be. Millions of people have achieved great things over the centuries. Many, I can't say all, obviously, that would be a foolish thing to do, but many of these people that have achieved great things in their lives may have somehow, some way, learned to implement these principles. That's what they've done. They've learned how to achieve total clarity, total focus of their conscious to influence their subconscious. Now, I need to reiterate, there is absolutely no conflict between what Dr. Murphy is saying and the teachings of the Holy Bible, the Christian Holy Bible. There are no conflicts. In fact, one complements the other. Dr. Murphy makes a strong argument that one of the many things Jesus was trying to teach us was to teach us to be able to do these things. Now, I've noticed over the years, once again, reflecting on my own life, I at a fairly young age, I would say by 19 or 20 years old, I learned how to consciously focus on achieving a goal and have absolute clarity and absolute focus on achieving whatever goal it might be, whether it was military intelligence, criminal investigations, business, whatever it might be, and go on to achieve those goals. I recall, it was probably around 1981 or so. I decided I was going to start a residential real estate investment business, and I did my due diligence, studied up on it, figured out how to do these things, got my real estate broker's license and so forth, and I wrote down a specific goal with a specific date for me to achieve that goal. Ink on paper. I signed it. I think I may have had my wife, Dr. Moore, sign it as a witness. I don't recall specifically. And I posted it on the wall of my office. And that goal was set out, I think, maybe 24 months out from the date of signing it. And I achieved that goal in maybe a year, maybe just under a year. And that was very gratifying to be able to do that. Very gratifying. Now, my book here, I've got it in my hand, my copy of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. I've got tabs in it. I've got paper clips. I've got highlighters. And I'll probably, this particular, in different editions, are going to have different page counts. This page count of this one is, 270 something pages. It takes a couple hours to read it. I do make an effort to read it about once a year. I like to get copies off of Amazon.com. I'll buy 5 or 6 copies a year, and then I will make them a gift to people I think would actually read it and actually make use of it, as opposed to just haphazardly give them away as a haphazard gift to somebody. It can do that. You can do this. You can do this. You can get this book. You can read it. You can make it part of who you are and incorporate these principles into your life to achieve whatever goal you want to achieve. It may be a health-related goal. It may be a relationship-related goal. It may be career-related. Maybe even a hobby, Maybe, some silly thing like fly fishing. If there's any fly fishermen, I'm sorry, but I think it's a pretty silly thing to do myself. But whatever that goal might be, hey, go for it. This book will give you the clarity, give you the focus to achieve whatever goal you want to achieve. I'm absolutely serious. I don't sell these books, by the way. Obviously, I don't. Free? How can you sell a free download? I was talking to my engineer briefly before the start of the program, and he's talking about getting a ream is 500 pages, a ream of 3-hole punch paper and have Kinko's printed out. And I said, well, just get a copy from Amazon. They'll deliver it to your door for $5.49. Save yourself a trip to Kinko's and buy a ream of paper. But it's up to you, whatever you want to do. You can there's Kindle editions available, of course. I like hard copy. The books that are important to me, that I want to keep in my permanent library, I do get hard copy. Whatever, if it's printed out on 3-hole punch paper and a 3-ring binder, or a regular bound book from a publisher, it doesn't matter. As long as I got hard copy, I'm a happy camper. I cannot emphasize too strongly that these principles do work. I cannot emphasize too strongly that many tens of thousands, possibly millions of people worldwide have somehow, some way learned to implement these principles. They may not have ever heard of Joseph Murphy, but they've managed to achieve the goals that they set out to achieve. Maybe they read another of the similar genre of books. Maybe they just learned how to do what I did as a young man, just achieve that clarity and focus. Here's our break. Call number is 800-313-9443. Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. As most of you know, my regular listeners, I offer energy cleaners for sale at my website. If you don't have a clue what I'm talking about, go to my website, thelibertyman.com, educate yourself about these marvelous healing devices. We focus on pain mitigation and getting a great night's sleep. Arthritis pain, joint pain, back pain, doesn't matter. Keep in mind, I offer from me to you personally a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's what I do. Energy cleaner is $285, shipping included to American zip codes. You can educate yourself all about the energy cleaner right there at my website, the patent application, the wonderful testimonials. Be sure and check out the factory-made fitted mattress pads to go with the energy cleaner. Now, I offer from me to you personally a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's what I do. I have a toll-free order line, or you can order it right at my website at thelibertyman.com. The toll-free order line is 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. It's taken 3 years before I could offer the inter-shelter domes for sale. During those 3 years, several different governments and militaries were taking all their production. The inter-shelter dome homes may be just what you've been looking for to provide affordable, energy-efficient, permanent, and attractive housing. These dome homes are prefabricated units that can be assembled in a few hours by 2 men with a ladder and simple hand tools. Check out the photos of these dome homes built in the Arctic, on tropical beaches, in suburban areas, and in forests. All the details, many photographs, and the pricing of the dome homes are listed on the left-hand side of my homepage at thelibertyman.com. I think you'll find these homes are not only attractive, but they're energy efficient, and a bonus. You can disassemble them and reassemble them as many times as you feel you need to. Pretty great, huh? Something that's very, very unique. Check them out at my website at The Liberty Man. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 12th day of December. Maybe you've pondered, maybe you've wondered how and why some people achieve goals and why other people don't. Maybe you've thought about that. What's the difference between those who achieve goals and those who don't? Now, obviously, there can be extenuating circumstances. You know, how intelligent a person is, who their parents are, what access to capital they may have. Obviously, those things could be in play and make a difference on one hand. On the other, most of us are aware of people who come from humble beginnings and achieve great things. Yes, and that happens a lot in the United States. I have a very dear friend of mine. He and his wife came here from what was then Czechoslovakia. It was still the communist country. They told their parents, they were youngsters in their early to mid-20s at the time. This would have been about 1985 or so. Told their parents they were going on vacation, and they escaped. Came across the Italian border with 4 suitcases. Stayed in a refugee camp in Italy for a year, waiting to get permission to come to this country. And came here literally with the contents of those 4 suitcases to start their new life in the land of the free, home of the brave. That's been about 30 years ago, give or take a little. They've become very patriotic Americans, raising 2 beautiful children. They have a nice home that they live in, a family business that they run together. They've had different businesses over the years. They've settled on one that seems to be a good fit for their lifestyle and done quite well for themselves. Coming here with literally nothing but two suitcases full of personal possessions, no starting capital, no, not at all. And they're doing better than many Americans who were born here and had at least a head start in growing up speaking the language as opposed to it being a second language. What's the difference between immigrants who come here legally, motivated to be successful, and Americans who are born here and end up not being successful? Well, largely, it's a matter of desire, the ability to take that desire and translate that desire into complete clarity and complete focus with very specific goals in mind. That's, in my opinion, that's the difference. You can do this. You know, I am quite certain that pretty much everybody listening to my voice has goals that they would like to meet. They may be health-related goals. It may be career-related. It may be a relationship. It may be several of these things. There's no reason why not. One goal does not preclude or eliminate another goal. You need to, first of all, determine in detail what that specific goal is. It has to be very specific. It can't be some general thing, such as, oh, I want to be successful in business. That won't cut it. You're going to learn about your brain and your subconscious mind when you read this book. Your conscious mind is, to use one of their analogies in the book, is the captain of the ship. That's the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is what goes on down below decks, all the crew members doing the bidding, following the directions of the captain of the ship. Unless the captain of the ship has clarity and focus, the crew down below decks isn't going to know what to do or when to do it or how to do it, will they? Of course not. Actually, let me amend that a little bit. The crew of the ship knows how to do what needs to be done. They do because they've been trained, they have the expertise, they know how to do what needs to be done, on one hand. On the other, unless the captain gives specific, clear instructions on what needs to be done, they won't be able to accomplish that goal. Here's our bottom of the hour break. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We're continuing our energy cleaner promotion, which began August of 2016. In this promotion, you get to buy an energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and a mattress pad, 10% off retail. $200 of the purchase price of the energy cleaner goes to Republic Broadcasting. This is a great way to help get energy cleaners out to people who need them and have some financial issues to deal with. And, of course, a great way to support Republic Broadcasting. Here's what you do. Send in a postcard. My address is John Moore, P.O. Box 201, Davidsville, Missouri. We pick a postcard every 2 weeks. If your postcard is drawn, you get the chance to buy the energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and 10% off the mattress pads. Put your name and your address, your telephone number, and your email address on the postcard, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 12th day of December. My website is thelibertyman.com. Yes, there's a lot there. People who are new to my website, they say, boy, John, there's a lot at your website. There is. You spend a lot of time there. We're talking about the Power of Your Subconscious Mind, of course, which is a free download at my website. Of course, another fun project at my website is the project which involves all you listeners, the project of locating images of continents with new coastlines on TV shows and movies. If you scroll down the left side, let's see, it's pretty far down. It begins right there near the Real Housewives of ISIS, which is a funny little video done by the BBC. And it's a long list of images, movies and TV shows, going back to the mid-1950s, by the way, early to mid-1950s. If you find one yourself, an image of a continent with new coastlines on a TV show or a movie, get that screen capture to me, and you get your choice of any of my 5 DVDs. So thank you. It's a fun project. It really took off this year. And, of course, I have energy cleaners. This is my home business. When you place your order for an energy cleaner, I'm the guy that boxes them up. I put the postage on it. I take it to the little country post office where you can get all the coffee you want to drink for 75 cents. Or go to the catfish buffet and eat all the catfish you want on Friday evening for less than $10. And I ship it off to you. When you place an order for a mattress pad, I'm the guy that reconfigures them. I get them from the distributor. I reconfigure them to be compatible with the energy cleaner. I box them up and I ship them off as well. We just found out yesterday what the delay is. We thought it was the Christmas rush. It turns out UPS messed up massively and returned a bunch of mattress pads back to the factory distributor in Chicago. That is being corrected this week. I know people have been waiting, some of them 3 and almost 4 weeks. But we'll hope to be getting those things out soon. I don't want to promise a date to be held to it, but very soon, I hope. If you have arthritis pain, joint pain, back pain, you need an energy cleaner. Seriously, you do. I offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. I'm going to talk to Tim Spencer about changing that to be 90 days here soon. You're risking nothing when you get an energy cleaner. Seriously, you're risking nothing. Only $285, shipping included. You can study up on it at my website. You can make your purchase right there at my website at thelibertyman.com of your energy cleaner, your mattress pad, using PayPal. PayPal's really neat. I like PayPal. They now take payments. You need to spread out that. If you live in the USA, by the way, you can spread out those payments over several months at PayPal. MasterCard, Visa. You can send me a check. My address is right there at my website at thelibertyman.com. I should also mention we have the Christmas giving season coming up. Under John's Survival and Tactical Gear, you'll find the ThermTech suits. I'm working today, get an order out on a ThermTech suit. If you have concern about thermal imaging being used against you, you need a ThermTech suit. It's pretty neat technology. They're handmade one at a time, so there's a couple of week turnaround time to get these things delivered. I have a toll-free auto line for energy cleaners, by the way. Here it is, 800-592-9543. If you want to order your energy cleaner, your mattress pad, using my toll-free order line, 800-592-9543. We had open lines here at Public Broadcasting. Call number is 800-313-9443. I would have loved to have been to one of Dr. Murphy's lectures. I've got, I think, 6 or 7 of his 30 books. I'm not sure all of them are still in print. I believe there's probably, I don't have that Amazon page in front of me. I think 8 or 9 of his books are available at Amazon.com. He was a brilliant man, obviously. Born in 1898, and he died, I think it was around 1980, 81, something like that. About the same age as he was born about the same time my paternal grandfather was. My paternal grandfather was born about the same time, 1898 or so. Isn't it neat when you achieve a goal? It's fun. It's gratifying. All of us achieve certain goals. It may be a very minimal goal, such as going to get a cup of coffee. I have a goal to get a cup of fresh hot coffee. I prepare the coffee, and then I get it. That's achieving a goal. Maybe the goal is to get a nice, juicy bacon cheeseburger at your favorite place to get such a thing. And you travel to that location, you place your order, and you get your delicious, juicy bacon cheeseburger. Or it could be a major goal, such as graduating from a professional university, a college, getting a professional degree of some sort. I set out, I had a goal to become a graduate paralegal. And I determined what it would take to achieve that goal, and I did what was necessary to do that, and I achieved that goal. And I learned a lot. It was very good classes, very good discipline to learn the classic way of doing legal research, actually going to a law library and doing legal research with real books as opposed to online. I was just thinking this morning how probably a huge part of what law students do now is online as opposed to spending their life in a law library. I did my legal research at Washington University Law School Law Library. Most of it, occasionally I would go to St. Louis University Law Library, but the majority of it was in Washington University Law Library. And I learned a lot because my instructor taught the same course at the St. Louis University Law School. Same material, same homework assignments, the same tests. Everything was the same, except the cost, of course, which was minimal for me in the community college, as opposed to what the students were paying at St. Louis University Law School. And in fact, the instructor became a friend, and we're still friends after all these years, after 45 years. I learned a lot in that, and I achieved my goal because I had complete clarity and complete focus to do so. We got a caller on hold here. We got Rick in Missouri. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning. Good morning, John. Interesting subject. There are some statistics out there, and I always forget exactly how they work, regarding people who want to be their own boss. They want to start a business. They don't want to be, I guess, told what to do. So they get this idea in their head that they're gonna dodge that bullet by being their own boss, and then they find out fairly quickly that not only is it not easy or any easier than what they were doing, that it's actually impossible for them. The statistic is something like, in the first year, 90 or 95% of them are out of business, and then in the second year, half of that group's gone. So I've been in business over 40 years. I must have done something right. I probably instituted some of these Murphy techniques inadvertently.
Right.
Dr. Myers would call some of this stuff persistent insistence. But I wanted to, he's a character. But one thing I did want to mention, one of my mentors when I was younger, who helped me to stay in business, great guy, moral fella, everybody likes him. But what he did is he kind of took this whole thing he perverted the thing a bit, and what he tried to do was, the man was incredibly productive, but he was trying to live on candy bars and Coke, and we would work sometimes 36 hours straight. Anyway, the bottom line is, what he was doing was he was augmenting his mental abilities and his persistent insistence by cannibalizing his body.
Right.
And that's
I know what you're talking about, but most of our listeners do. I know exactly what you're talking about, but most of our listeners do not.
Well, you can't sacrifice your physical health in an effort to get ahead, because what happens is, it's kind of like the tortoise and the hare. Yeah, you may be ahead for a little while, but you will hit the wall. And in fact, at 42, you wound up with heart stents. So, this is a problem. If you're gonna do one of these things, and this is a small point I want to make, but if you're gonna if your mind is going somewhere, your body will have to go along too. So, while you're trying all this, working double shifts and all this, that's great, but make sure you're taking good care of your body. The other thing that I want to mention, and I see this with a lot of people, they try, and they're just having a hard time succeeding. And I always say, it doesn't appear that there's no reason they're not succeeding, but in my opinion, a lot of these people have a tail wagging their dog, because they're ignoring spirituality, which is a part of mental health, and
Absolutely.
They're trying to do everything ex God. It's like this is my business. What's God got to do with this? Well,
right.
If you want to succeed, and I'm only trying to be helpful here. If you want to succeed, make certain that you're taking care of yourself physically and spiritually, and it may take a little bit longer to achieve your goal, but I think you got a better shot at it if you'll approach it in a holistic way. Tune in on Friday mornings, listen to some of what Dr. Myers has to say. That will help.
Absolutely.
All right.
Rick, before you get away, Rick.
Sure.
It was about, I'm going to say the late 1980s, that I came to recognize as a mature adult that what John Moore was accomplishing was beyond what a mortal human being could do without divine intervention.
I can't believe you've got the nerve to mention that. Are you going to give God some credit?
Well, it took me, quite a while. It took me 20-something years as an adult to make that determination that I was quite happy to take personal credit for extraordinary achievements in solving murders and conducting investigations to the point where executives from Chicago were calling St. Louis asking for me by name to conduct their investigations, and going to conferences and having people that I never heard of seek me out because of my reputation, becoming a nationwide reputation as an investigator. I was quite happy to take personal credit for that, but it was in hindsight that I recognized that I was getting help. I was getting divine help, divine intervention, and otherwise these things could never have happened. And I was very humbled by that, and it stood me in good stead to recognize that and then incorporate that into my consciousness.
Yeah, giving thanks is a great thing. My kids took first place in every Pinewood Derby that they were ever in, but I wonder if they ever think back now and realize that they did not build those cars. It's just, I was, they stood there with the trophy and jumped up and down, but they didn't build the cars. I did that. So, yeah, I mean, somewhere, they say, the old adage, behind every great man is a great woman. Well, you can extend that. Behind every great man, there is a complicit deity. He's getting some help, and I'm hoping that people are smart enough to ask for that help. I know they can get it without it, but I would inspire everybody to ask for that help, and then, for goodness sakes, remember to say thank you too. Do that, and it's just a good mindset to get into.
I agree. Rick, thank you for the call. We appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, bye.
Okay. Call number is 800-313-9443. Now, I have to admit, because it's true, I've known atheists who have been successful in their chosen career, and was quite successful, no doubt whatsoever. And they do it by hard work and perseverance and being very bright and so forth. One attorney I've worked with off and on since 1979 has been quite successful in his chosen career as a criminal defense attorney, on one hand. On the other, I know from personal experience that divine intervention surrounds us. There's a power. The power of God is what makes this world work. And I believe it's very important to understand that, to comprehend that, respect that, and incorporate that knowledge into your daily life. Now, it's going to be different things for different people. Some people need the structure of a corporate religion. I don't use the term organized religion. I use the term corporate religion because they are corporations. Maybe you don't need that kind of structure. Maybe one gentleman I know, he says, my religion is to take my Bible and go to a quiet place in nature, a park or in the forest or near a lake, and study my Bible in private. That's the way he achieves his goals. It's going to be different things for different people. Native Americans, I respect what they do. I don't feel any compulsion to convert Native Americans to my beliefs. The spiritual beliefs of Native Americans stand alone as what's good for them. I certainly would share my Christian beliefs with any Native American who wants to hear that message, but I have no compulsion to convert them to my way of thinking. I respect that, and I believe Christians made massive mistakes over the centuries, converting native peoples around the planet by force. to Christianity. I don't believe Jesus wanted that at all. I've seen, and I'm not aware of anything in the Bible talking about conversion by force or threat of force. But that's what Christians did for centuries. Here's a break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 12th day of December. Get this book. This copy I've got, this is paperback. It's well used. It's obviously well used with tabs and paper clips and highlighter all through the book. It's a quick read for me anyway, less than 300, just under 300 pages. Different editions have different page counts. It's cheap paperback. The paper is starting to yellow a little bit, but it has the information. It doesn't matter what condition the book is, as long as all the pages are there and not damaged. It doesn't matter what. Get a used copy. Get a used copy. Read this book. I would read it through once and then go back and read it through a second time. That's when the second read through. And this is what I do anyway. You're going to have your own system. And I don't have that many books in my private library that I've got tabs and paper clips and highlighter through. Maybe it's probably 8 or 10 at the most. The second read through is when I start using highlighters and paper tabs, so I can turn it into a reference book for my personal use with the tabs and highlighter, whatever gets it done for you. And I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you read this book, comprehend it, incorporate these principles into your life, it will, and it can. I don't care if you're 18 years old or 88 years old. It can and will change your life in very positive ways. Very positive. Achieving health-related goals, relationship-related goals, career-related, education-related. It doesn't matter. It really does. And I've talked to, if you heard me talk to Dr. Myers about this, one of the things the powers that be are concerned about is us barefoot peasants, finding out our true power. That's what they're really concerned about, is us finding out our own true power that each of us has. They're very concerned about that because there's no limits. And when you get hundreds or thousands of people who figure this out and start working and cooperating together, you got something that can't be stopped and can't be beat. You really do. That's what they're fearful of. So, bite the bullet. Get yourself a copy of this book, Amazon.com. Use bookstore, free download on my website. Whatever it takes you to get your hands on a copy of this book. Spend a couple hours and read it. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. Yes, it is consistent with Christian values and Christian beliefs. It absolutely is consistent with no conflict whatsoever. So just put your mind at ease. All you Christians out there, there's no conflict whatsoever with the principles outlined in this book in Christianity. We've got a top of the hour break. We look forward to having Leon Green with us. Stay tuned. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here, our second hour on Tuesday, the 12th day of December. Our prepper tip of the day: get yourself a copy of the book titled The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. It's a free download at my website, or you can get a new copy delivered to your door by Amazon for $5.49. That's your prepper tip of the day. Great book. We're passing away in agreement, my friend Leon Green. Leon is a gentleman who's taken the time, made the effort to become quite knowledgeable of all the wonderful things that incorporating doTERRA essential oils into your daily life can do for you. Good morning, Leon.
Morning, John. How are you doing, sir?
Well, outstanding. How about yourself, sir?
Very good. Had a very active weekend, lots of trainings, and my son got to attend many of them and did some food packing and did all sorts of things this weekend.
Outstanding. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Well, Leon, typically you hear some of the first hour of the show, and I know you well enough to know that you are a gentleman who knows how to set goals and achieve goals, aren't you, sir?
Absolutely. And yeah, I did hear a portion of the last show, and I think about the goals I've set and some, the ones I've achieved and the ones that I've fallen short of, and throughout my entire life. And so it is crucial, especially when you're in a preparedness, because it could be something as simple as thermal. And I heard you talk about that thermal device. And I was doing
the Thermtex.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. And
yep.
Is that part of your business as well?
We had some kind of electronic noise there. I'm not sure what that hum was. Regardless, well, we talk about lots of things this hour every week, everything from how wonderful a deuce and a half is to precision marksmanship to doTERRA essential oils. And one thing works and leads into the other. Now, you may think to yourself, what's doTERRA essential oils got to do with precision marksmanship? Well, if you don't have the calm, steady nerves and a pain-free body, your marksmanship is going to suffer, isn't it, Leon?
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. Even your blood pressure affects. I mean, when you're shooting at 100 yards, it doesn't matter. But when you're shooting at 1,500, 2,000 and further, it sure does. Because if you have erratic breathing, if it hurts you to get down and lay down prone for 20 minutes or several hours as spotters or as a if you're doing Overwatch, it does have an impact on your health. So, they don't grab the most out of shape person, and then I've seen people that it's very difficult for them to get down, let alone. And then I heard this one thing in the class, they call it a food blister, and I asked the coach, I said, what is a food blister? And he says, people who have a big belly because of eating too much. And I'm like, wow, I just laughed hysterically, and then repeat it in the next class. But if it's difficult for you to get down and stay down, then yes, that will impact your accuracy. And so, you can spend all the money, tens of thousands of dollars on scopes and things, but if you aren't the software behind the hardware, it's going to be a very ineffective and a big waste of money and time.
Absolutely. Yes, that's very true, Leon. So, part of achieving goals is to have the health necessary to do so. That's very clear to me, and I hope it's clear to most everybody else, that in the absence of the necessary physical wherewithal, there's many goals that simply will not be achievable, aren't there, Leon?
Yes, sir. And so doTERRA is mainly a way to improve your overall health, your quality of life, and to regain the quality of life of people who've lost it. So it has so many benefits, both physically, mentally, and even spiritually.
Absolutely. Well, this is radio. We always have new listeners, so it's a repeat for regular listeners. I know, but it is radio. We're talking about doTERRA essential oils here, ladies and gentlemen. Something that I incorporate into my daily life. My wife, Dr. Moore, incorporates into her daily life. Many of our listeners do. If you want to get started doing what Leon and I do, what my wife, Dr. Moore, does, what Dr. Myers does, here's what you do. First of all, get yourself 2 copies of the same book. It may sound like counterintuitive, but you want the 5th edition and the 9th edition of the book titled Modern Essentials. They're reference books. These aren't, typically people wouldn't just sit down and read them cover to cover. You read what you need. That's the nature of a reference book. You find something you need to find out about, then you go to the reference book and you learn whatever that might be. That's number one. Number two, send me an email. My email address is right there at my website at thelibertyman.com. By return email, I will send you my doTERRA website link. You need those two things to get started. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and you're on the road to incorporate oils which have been used. We had a Bible study Sunday evening at the church I attend, Leon, and it was about the three wise men, the Magi, and they mentioned, the instructor, of course, mentioned myrrh, which is an essential oil, and frankincense, another essential oil. And he mentioned myrrh as an essential oil, but he also characterized frankincense as perfume. So when the class is over, I was speaking to him privately, and I said, frankincense is a very powerful, healing essential oil. It does smell nice, but it's a powerful healing oil. And I believe that the three wise men, the Magi, were not all that concerned about baby Jesus smelling good as they were about baby Jesus being healthy. And myrrh, of course, and my wife and I were just talking about myrrh the other day. Dr. Moore, she's talking about there's more than 200 known constituents in myrrh. It's a very powerful essential oil, and there's probably more constituents to be found, aren't there, Leon?
Actually, it's more than 650, sir.
650. So, thank you. Thank you for the correction.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's an amazing amount of constituents in one oil. It's a heavy oil. It doesn't just drip out of the Bible. You need to kind of wait a little bit for it to make up its own mind to drip out a drop, doesn't it, Leon?
Yes, sir.
The myrrh. But it's great stuff. It's great stuff. And, of course, Leon, you're at a point now, and have been for several years, you're at a point where your knowledge is so comprehensive that you're prepared to offer free consultations at your office telephone number. What is that office telephone number, Leon?
Yes, it's 303-495-2188.
Now, something we talk about occasionally is the need, the desire of people for health reasons to wean themselves off one at a time, incrementally, from harmful, dangerous, expensive pharmaceutical products. And right now would be the time to begin. We got the new year in less than 3 weeks, the 1st of January. Right now would be a great time to have that as one of a person's goals for 2018, is to wean themselves off harmful, dangerous, expensive pharmaceutical products one at a time by using doTERRA essential oils. That would be a great goal, wouldn't it, Leon?
Yes, sir. And matter of fact, they have many promotions. One is New Year, New You, and it really focuses on the mindset and of changing your old paradigms of improving your health. And it's funny that preppers always talk about everybody else is so they have the normalcy bias, but then they don't look at themselves when it comes to health. They don't see the big picture. It's like, okay, you can't do the same things you've done and expect to go into a off-grid scenario and everything's going to be hunky-dory. Your entire spectrum of and continuum of what you do is going to have to be modified, because it's going to impact the way you can either survive or you can thrive. And doTERRA is not just about survival oils; it's actually about thriving. And so the energy, the focus, the pretty much the bon vivant, the zest of life is included with the oils.
Absolutely. Well, all we can do is lead people to water. We can't make them drink, but we can lead them to the water. They can look at it, they can ponder it, they can think about it, and it's their independent decision whether to participate in doTERRA essential oils or not. But and I respect that. If people choose not to, that's their choice. I respect that on one hand. On the other, if they do choose to, they're going to find themselves having a less pain in their life, better health, more energy, less illness. I know you mentioned 4 oils last week, Leon, that you use yourself on a daily basis to help for prophylactic purposes to help maintain health. What are those 4 oils you use every day, Leon?
Yes, sir. There, and this came from Dr. Hill. He's one of the world's experts on essential oils, Dr. David Hill, and they are lemon, frankincense, doTERRA's proprietary blends. One is called On Guard, which is an immunity blend, and the other one is Balance, and that's a more of a metabolic blend. And those 4, we're talking about only using a drop, whereas, and that's I do it in the morning and at night. So the lemon is phenomenal for many different things. It's a great detoxifier and cleanser. It helps stabilize the blood pressure. And then frankincense as overall is anti-inflammatory, a mild antidepressant. Even in the book we're talking about, Modern Essentials, it describes it as being anti-canceral, anti-tumoral. And so it protects in so many different ways. And then lastly is Balance. And that is a great overall mood stabilizer, whether you're too high-strung like ADHD, ADD, or the other end of the spectrum, you may be depressed or lethargic, malaise. And so your body knows what homeostasis is, both physically and emotionally. So that's where those oils are very good. And then normally take peppermint in the morning in lieu of strong coffee or caffeine, and it works very well. And I'm going out to Nevada on Thursday with my son, and we're going to drive overnight. And so peppermint is phenomenal for keeping you focused on a long drive.
It is, absolutely. That plus audiobooks, or maybe chatting with your son, but the combination of audiobooks and the peppermint would do a great job. Well, people that know me, Leon, know that I really do enjoy a cup of coffee. I went for years drinking a quart of coffee every day before noon. That was a habit for years. I'm at a point right now with working with Dr. Myers and using doTERRA oils where I fix coffee in the morning and I drink part of a cup, and I feel that urge, that need, that desire for a great cup of coffee has been satisfied by drinking about 2/3 to 3/4 of 1 cup of coffee, and I'm done. And I may have another cup maybe around mid-afternoon, around 3 p.m. or so. But dietary changes and incorporating doTERRA oils has changed my life dramatically in very positive ways. I was just reading this morning about President Trump consuming Diet Coke, which is a very harmful substance, and some speculation on how much Diet Coke the man consumes, which long-term has very detrimental effects on everybody's health. I'm very disappointed that he does that, but it is physically addicting. It's just as physically addicting as some of these harmful drugs that people consume. Diet Coke does develop a physical addiction, unfortunately. I don't know if any of the doTERRA essential oils would help somebody break that addiction, but of the diet sodas. But it's an unfortunate thing that has very adverse effects on people's well-being long term. In fact, U.S. Air Force pilots will be grounded. They will lose their flight status if they consume diet soda even once. If they keep doing it, they will be punished. That's how severe the U.S. Air Force considers the consumption of diet sodas, Leon. Are you surprised by that?
No, I'm not at all. Actually, my brother's a pilot for one of the airlines, he tells me the same thing, and my understanding that it's actually banned by the
FAA.
FAA, yeah. I was thinking about the other
lots of alphabet soup organizations, Federal Aviation Administration. I'm not aware of that, but it doesn't surprise me. And quite frankly, if that's true, I hope it's true. And
yes, but people talk.
Right. Well, it was not any scientific study. It was a matter of pilots visiting with each other and talking about how they get headaches when they consume diet soda. They get blurred vision when they consume diet soda. I don't want my pilot up there in that 747 with blurred vision and headaches, do you?
Absolutely. They have enough problems to deal with sleep, let alone vision.
Yeah. Well, a very good friend of mine, I was doing a lot of manual labor here around the ranch, and I had some regular. I never drank diet soda. I thought it was the first diet soda I drank back in the mid 1960s. I think it was called Tab. I thought, oh, this is disgusting. Why would somebody consume this? And I never drank another one. But I was drinking regular Coca-Cola, and I would keep it on in the refrigerator. And at the end of a long, hard, sweaty day of manual labor, I would have that cold Coca-Cola over ice and look forward to that. And my friend kept bugging me and pestering me to stop drinking it, and I finally did. And I'm glad that I did. That I stopped drinking the soft drinks altogether. The doTERRA oils, as good as the doTERRA oils are, if you keep consuming harmful substances such as these carbonated beverages, there's only so much the doTERRA oils can do, isn't there, Leon?
Absolutely. I mean, it's like that man you talked about, or the other, I think Rick talked about, in which he consumed the chocolate and the pop blast, until he had the
candy bars
heart
and
issues.
soft drinks. Yes.
Yeah. And so, one pop has an average anywhere from 7 to 10 teaspoons of sugar. And when you consume that, your body will shut down its immune system for a minimum of 4 hours. So if you're traveling, every one of the bugs in the air you touch, you go to the bathroom, doorknobs, whether you're commuting on a train, a subway, L train, plane, automobile, bus, you are now exposed to all those bugs. And there are people who consume a 6-pack a day, and they can't understand why they're always sick. And they eat organic. And it's like being in an F1 race car. But if your brake system is broken, or you have your foot on the brakes while you're trying to do 250 miles an hour, yes, you're not going to achieve optimal speed, and you won't be able to keep up with everybody else. And the people who say, yes, I'm going to thrive during the crisis, and if your body is just barely getting by, and you are sick, you're going to be easily overcome, and your body, especially with the sleep issue. Everybody's getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep now, but during an emergency, sleep goes down drastically, and then your immune system's even more compromised. So here we go again with that the normalcy bias. That's just the other people. It doesn't apply to me, and your body is your body, and it's going to react to all these issues, external and internal stimuli.
Right. Well, I met a woman recently, a few months back, about my age. The family financial resources are into serious 9 digits, and I immediately recognized her as being very fragile, health-wise and physically, very fragile. And my heart goes out to people like that. It's if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. I don't care how substantial your financial wherewithal is. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. The wife of another friend of mine, they're very substantial financial means. Her husband, a gentleman I know, he purchased a motorhome so he could drive his wife from appointment to appointment with these healthcare professionals. And they don't have a life. Not a life that's desirable and enviable. They have a life of driving from appointment to appointment. That's their life. What our goal, Leon and I, and it looks like we're not having any commercials here, by the way, because of technical difficulties, so I guess people don't mind. Our goal, Leon and I, is to help people have a fun, full, healthy, productive life. That's my goal. And that's your goal also, isn't it, Leon?
Absolutely. And there's in doTERRA is a great way to start and to apply this knowledge that's been around for thousands of years. And many people are like, well, why don't I hear about it from my doctor? It's because they aren't paid by the drug companies and their patients for, quote, the most modern drugs, and that includes the experimentals as well. And depending on their issue, it could be more detrimental to receive the drugs and antibiotics than to have the body naturally deal with it. And so doTERRA's oils are merely a tool that's been used for thousands of years to assist in recovery and recuperation.
Yeah, most people, most of the time, go into healthcare because for the right reasons. They want to help people be healthy. There's one nurse practitioner. A nurse practitioner is basically the same thing as an MD for all intents and purposes. She says, John, I know what works. I know what is safe and effective and inexpensive. If I prescribe these things, I will lose my license. I'm not allowed to. So, of course, people don't learn that until they've paid tens of thousands of dollars for their professional training to get in this career field. And then, only then, after they're already in it, do they learn the reality of what they've been trained, the reality of the professional license they have, the reality of being prohibited from helping people gain health in a safe, inexpensive, effective manner. But that's what we're bringing to the table here. I don't have a license that I can lose. Leon doesn't have a license he can lose. So we're immune to that threat, aren't we, Leon?
Absolutely, but let me do the FDA disclaimer. As always, none of these statements are made to diagnose, treat, or prevent any kind of medical illness. Please contact your professional practitioner for their advice, and do not start any programs without that. And I had to say that, and I don't say it every day because my assumption is that people know that, but it is common sense. But common sense these days is so uncommon.
Yes. Oh yes.
And so we used to be able to say, and that's why John recommends the edition 5, because we used to tell the truth, and we were able to do until we had such an impact. I mean, 11 years ago, there was no real essential oil industry. And then doTERRA pretty much started that by itself, and now it's an $8 billion a year industry. So these mega corporations that you all see, and actually the pharmaceutical industry is the world's most profitable industry of all the legal industries. And we're talking from 20 to 30,000 and 50,000% profits. And so yes, unbelievable profits. So they are livid and losing $1 billion. That was last, from people not taking their pharmaceutical and their antibiotics. And, they don't really care about the carnage they leave behind. And this is just in America. Over 650,000 people die from iatrogenic disease. And that is properly prescribed drugs and methods and protocols using the modern techniques, and people still die from it. You every so often you hear some surgeon leaving a scalpel in the body, and the person kills themselves with that. An infection, MRSA, that comes from the hospital. So those are the ones but you never hear this. Just like you don't after all the massacres, the shooting massacres, you never talk. They never go back and say, yeah, this person's been in Lovox, all these other pharmaceutical SSRI drugs for the last 25 years, and then they had a psychic break, and then they went ballistic. So they don't address that. They just blame it on the hardware instead of the software that's the underlying damage.
Well, Leon, you remind me of a couple of things. First of all, a friend of mine, an attorney, very successful, on the wall of one of the law offices he used to be associated with, they had an X-ray of a person who had a clamp left behind in their chest from surgery that was all sewn up. And then also the book titled World Without Cancer, and how the board of directors of the Sloan Kettering Cancer Foundation Institute were very upset when one of their researchers determined and learned the protocols to safely, easily, cheaply cure cancer. There were two Rockefellers on the board of directors at the time of Sloan Kettering, which is one of the better known cancer institutes, by the way, Sloan Kettering. And they were very upset that this researcher on their payroll had determined how to safely, easily, cheaply cure cancer. That was very disturbing to them, and that was not allowed to stand. And they made sure that they changed the experiment to ultimately fail after two successes using the same protocols with different researchers, which they were obviously following the scientific method of being observable, repeatable protocols, testable, observable, repeatable protocols. Yes. We got a bottom of the hour break coming up here. If you got a question or comment, give us a call at 800-313-9443. Human beings have been using essential oils for many thousands of years, haven't they, Leon?
Absolutely.
Here's our break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We're continuing our energy cleaner promotion, which began August of 2016. In this promotion, you get to buy an energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and a mattress pad, 10% off retail. $200 of the purchase price of the energy cleaner goes to Republic Broadcasting. This is a great way to help get energy cleaners out to people who need them and have some financial issues to deal with. And, of course, a great way to support Republic Broadcasting. Here's what you do. Send in a postcard. My address is John Moore, P.O. Box 201, Davidsville, Missouri. We pick a postcard every 2 weeks. If your postcard is drawn, you get the chance to buy the energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and 10% off the mattress pads. Put your name and your address, your telephone number, and your email address on the postcard, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you. Okay, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday. That's pretty rousing news. It's on Tuesday, the 12th day of December. Years quickly getting away from us here. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. Lots of interesting things there. Our project of finding maps of continents with new coastlines on television shows and movies continues to move forward. If you got some discretionary time over the holidays, especially between Christmas and New Year's, you're watching movies and TV shows, keep a sharp eye out for maps, images of continents with new coastlines. Get that screen capture to me. As a thank you, you get your choice of any of my 5 DVDs. It's a fun project. It really is. Also, my website, of course, are energy cleaners. It's part of an overall healthy lifestyle. And if you think you can keep eating pizza, beer, and ice cream as the 3 main food groups, as a friend of mine did who's paying a severe price for that, be healthy? No, you're sadly mistaken. You really are. You're going to have to make dietary changes, lifestyle changes, attitude changes, along with getting the energy cleaner getting the doTERRA essential oils. All those things work together to achieve the goal that you want to achieve. Energy Cleaner, we focus on pain mitigation. It could be joint pain, back pain, arthritis pain, doesn't matter. The Energy Cleaner will help. You're doing a long haul drive, 6 or 8 or 10 hours. Energy Cleaner pad on the seat of that vehicle will help you to be more alert and be safer on the highway for those long drives. I use mine when I make my long drives. I'm just driving a couple of hours, I don't bother. But if it's a drive of 4 or 5 or 6 hours, I'll go ahead and put the Energy Cleaner pad on the seat of that driver's seat of that vehicle. Only $285 shipping included. Keep in mind, I have a 30-day money-back guarantee. You're risking nothing when you get your Energy Cleaner. Check out the factory-made fitted mattress pads. Use PayPal to make your payment when you buy it at my website at thelibertyman.com. Your Energy Cleaner, your mattress pad. I'd also take MasterCard, Visa, and of course checks can be sent to my address at thelibertyman.com. I have a toll-free online 24 hours a day. Here it is, 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. We're visiting with Leon Green, and we're talking about health-related matters as it applies to doTERRA essential oils. And Leon has made himself, very graciously I might add, made himself available for private consultations. His office telephone number, Mountain Time, is 303-495-2188. If you also want to get started like myself, my wife, Dr. Moore, Leon Green, Dr. Phil Myers, incorporating other doctors I work with, by the way, also incorporate doTERRA essential oils into their practice. Here's what you do. Get yourself 2 copies of the book, Modern Essentials. You want the 5th edition, which has things we're not allowed to say anymore, and the most recent 9th edition. Put those into your private home library for your reference books. That's number 1. Number 2, send me an email. My email address is at my website at libertyman.com. By return email, I will send you my doTERRA website link. And then you're good to go. Aren't you, Leon?
Absolutely. And that's just the beginning of the journey. And what's nice about the reference book is you can use it. I have many people who have so many medical issues. I just say if you're commuting or if you're driving, if you're sitting in stoplights for, it seems like, half your life, then, just put it on the passenger seat, or better yet, if you're one of the passengers in the carpool, you can consume that book very quickly, especially with your own issues. And they even have apps. They're not as in-depth as a book, and they don't have all the information, but it is a great way to have it readily available at your fingertips. And so doTERRA tries to keep it as simple as possible. And there's even a doTERRA channel on YouTube that will address issues about protocols and how to use oils and things of that nature. So it's very, very simple. I mean, when I talk about taking a drop of each one of these things a day, or in the morning and at night, the fastest way to get something into your blood system, other than an injection or an IV, is sublingually. So you put a drop under your tongue. Lemon and frankincense. Frankincense may be like you're chewing on pine needles, because it's very, very much a resinous flavor. But and then the peppermint, you can drink it with water. You can also touch it to your nose, back of the skull where the neck meets the skull is another place, especially for people who have focus, inattention. So we have one called In Tune that's very good for that. So when I'm doing classes or something that's important, or even the radio shows, I would take In Tune, which is a proprietary blend by doTERRA that helps with focus and attention and specific details. And another one is rosemary, great for memory. I used to be a PI, just like you. I would use it to recall facts that would be very minute, but could be crucial in the jury or the administrative hearing. And then another one is Roman chamomile. That's really, really good for clarity as well. So all these oils, you can take them sublingually. You can touch it to your skin if you don't like to taste. Put it on your wrist, and then just hold your wrist together for about 30 seconds. It'll be absorbed through your your skin. And then you can also diffuse the oils. You can get a diffuser. Don't heat them up. And many people have, I have diffusers from years ago, and the older ones were not made to diffuse oils. So many times it will it will cause them to break. It may not happen the very first day, but after months of trying to push oil, it will. And so, there are specifically made oil diffusers that are phenomenal. And don't do the old cheesy technique of putting some of the oil in, like one of those clay or terracotta rings, and put it on the glass or put it on a light bulb and heat it up. That is good if you're just going for a scent, but if you're going for medicinal and medical applications, heating the oils are not effective. It's much easier just to touch it to the bottom of your nose, and you'll be breathing it, because your nose now becomes a diffuser, and it goes right through your olfactory system, right to the limbic system, and the limbic system is the only system in the body that has a direct shot to the brain. All the rest of them have filters, whether it's through the stomach, and the other sense organs. This one goes straight to the brain. So that is why the sense of smell is so emotional, because a scent can trigger memories from 20, 30, 50 years ago, because of how complex the brain is.
Well, the brain is incredibly complex and not all that well understood, quite frankly. But these oils can immediately, positively, in a very positive manner, affect the brain, can't they?
Absolutely. And I have people who call me and say, I'm in a mental fog, and sometimes they may describe things like they call them limeys. It's the Lyme's disease, which is caused by a parasite. But also, I'll ask them, do you take any diet pop? I'm like, yes, I do. And I'm just blown away at the number of people. And it seems to be, from what I gather, more women will take the diet sodas. And now aspartame, which is a neurotoxin from the 50s, it was designed as a chemical warfare agent. People, they don't know their history, and you've heard this statement: those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. So this is your life, and it really plagues me when I see parents giving their kids that thing. I don't want them to have diabetes. Well, the excess of sugar is terrible, but the poison aspartame is even worse. And when you told me about President Trump having, consuming it, it just blows me away that, here's somebody who may have billions, but he still makes common mistakes that the average layperson does. And I know there must be one person who's told him that it's not good for him, and I wonder if he just said, "You're fired."
Right. Well, diet sodas are very, very harmful. There's a free download on my website. It's about a 19 or 20 page publication titled "The Artificially Sweetened Times." It really tells the tale of artificial sweeteners and all the harmful ways that they affect human beings. And I recommend people, if they know anybody who's consuming these diet beverages, that they download this, print it out, and give it to the person who's consuming these harmful beverages. And it may have some impact on them. What I've found is that people who have this addiction, they find they can't break it, regardless of even wanting to. They can't break the addiction to the beverages with the artificial sweeteners, Leon. It's just a very sad situation.
Matter of fact, you talked about addictions earlier, and I wanted to address some of those. So there are oils that are very effective. And so on page 142 of the fifth edition, one of them is alcohol, drugs, smoking, sugar, withdrawal, and work. And so with the sugar and other chemicals, purify, serenity. Grapefruit is great for withdrawal symptoms. Lavender, basil, eucalyptus, marjoram, those are the top ones for drugs. And yes, this is definitely in the drug chemical family. So yes, that'd be apropos. Even for sugar, purify and serenity are very effective in that regard. So you do it topically, and you can do it sublingually if if you like the taste of it. But for people who are highly addictive, another one is clove, especially for smoking. I mean, the number of people who said, I want to stop it, and it really depends on their mindset. It's like people with cancer. If they have already conceded that they're going to die, they can spend $20 million on all the drugs and they have to die because of the fact that their brain they've given up. If their mindset is that, hey, I've heard the C word in my life and it applies to me and I'm going to die, it doesn't matter what you do. Whereas if they are fighters, if they are going to survive, they can still conquer it. And it's not the placebo effect. The mind is extremely powerful. And so those are some of the oils that are used for addiction. So, but one thing we haven't talked about is the oil of the week. And I wanted to address it, and it should be Melaleuca. And the reason I chose Melaleuca is because of how powerful, and we haven't talked about it recently, but remember the hurricanes and all, Harvey, Irma, and Maria. And you asked, I remember when it was going on, what can they do for mold mitigation and lessen the physical impact on them? And so Melaleuca is also called tea tree oil, and it comes from the best medicinal tea tree oil of Melaleuca, and Melaleuca is the scientific name for it. It's called Melaleuca alternifolia, and it's a shrub, a myrtle shrub, and the best comes from the southern hemisphere, specifically Australia. It's really high in monoterpene, 70%, and then there's a whole breakdown thereafter. And some of the properties are analgesic, highly antibacterial, antifungal, anti-infectious, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-parasitic, antiviral, digestive, immune stimulant, insecticidal, a stimulant, and a tissue regenerative. The common uses, the applications that people use them for, are athletes for any of the mold-based issues, allergies, bacterial infections, bronchitis, specifically one called Candida albicans, cleansing, cold sores, colds, coughs, cuts. It's pretty much the best oil used for any kind of dermal or skin issues, and dermatitis, eczema, ear infections, earaches, fungal infections, hives, immune system, infected wounds, inflammation, jock itch, MRSA, mumps, nail infection, pink eye, rashes, ringworm, rubella, scabies, shingles. It does not. There's several others, but Planner's warts, wounds. So it does. Of all the oils we have, it has in my opinion, it has the most medicinal smell. The other ones are medium of floral and fruity, and they smell great. They taste great. This one, when people are sick, that is one that is very, very effective. It's probably the third one after Melaleuca and cinnamon as the most effective ones you use for any kind of infection in which you didn't take the oils as a prevention or a prophylactic, and now you're sick. So you take those first two, and then Melaleuca as you can almost use it as a carrier oil. It's very thin and absorbed very quickly, but it works very well in that regard as well. So Melaleuca is definitely a very beneficial oil.
It is. Melaleuca is an outstanding oil. They're all outstanding. Each one has its own unique properties, its own uses, and we need to mention the promotion we've got going here, Leon, where if people buy a kit, they get a premium. And tell people about that, if you would, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, this is from myself and John, and if you get any kit of the Home Essentials kit or above, we're going to give you a $2,000 valued front sight, a class membership. So it's a 4-day class. So it's either handgun, shotgun, or rifle. You choose which one you like. And they're located in Pahrump, Nevada. It's about 45 miles west of Las Vegas, Nevada. And then if you get the Natural Solutions Kit. Excuse me. Natural Solutions Kit or above. We're going to give you 2 of those. And you can use them for 2 different people or one person going to 2 different classes. And then they will also get one 4-day rental of whatever platform they're looking for. So if it's a shotgun or a rifle or a handgun, they can choose which one. And so many people will use it as a couple that go together, and some people, they may just go twice the same class. So that is from me to you, that allows you to do, to benefit from the oils, first of all, but it's an incentive, and it is a limited time. And so I've been out there and doing a game.
Hold that thought, Leon. We have a break here. We'll be right back after the break. Stay tuned. Okay, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 12th of December. We take this time every week to talk about doTERRA essential oils. I need healthy listeners. I do. I need healthy listeners. And this is our effort to help everybody become healthier than they are, have optimal physical wherewithal. It doesn't matter which end of the spectrum you're in. You could be a high-performing athlete, like my 21-year-old grandson who has a college football scholarship, puts a little peppermint under his nostrils to get that oxygen getting into his blood a little bit more quickly and perform better. Or you could be at the other end of the spectrum where you have issues that you're dealing with on a daily basis, whatever they might be. Wherever you are in your health, in your life, you'll find doTERRA essential oils can be a benefit, won't you, Leon? Leon?
Absolutely, sir. Yes,
okay.
You can.
I thought we lost you for a moment.
No, I go to mute, so I don't have any background noises.
A lot of people do that. They go to mute. Well, it's something that everybody can do. Whether you're caring for infants who are just getting started in this life, or you're an older person, it doesn't matter where you are in life's journey. The doTERRA essential oils will be a benefit, and that's the bottom line, isn't it, Leon?
Absolutely. It blows me away when I get, the expectant mother or father, for that matter, asking, can they benefit from the oils the baby can in the womb? And absolutely. And there's certain oils that are, because of how strong some of the oils are, you may have to dilute them. And certain oils you just want to hold off, like clary sage is very good at inducing labor. Well, you don't want to do that early. So, but I've also had mothers who've been, overdue, and they've used clary sage, and it's been very effective as compared to having a doctor go in and do a C-section and cut them open, which will impact any other future babies for that matter. So they can help babies in the womb, as well as geriatric patients in hospice care. So everybody from unborn to terminal care can benefit.
Absolutely. Yep. And there's a place at every point in life's journey for the essential oils to play a role, a very positive, a very good role, in a safe and a cost-effective way. Right, Leon?
Yes, absolutely. That's correct.
Well, then let's just do it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just do it. Educate yourself. Get the book. Get the website from me. Send me your email. Send me an email by return email. I will send you my doTERRA website link. Get a copy of the 5th edition and the 9th edition of the book titled Modern Essentials. And you've got the tools you need. If you need a private consultation, Leon's office telephone number is area code 303-495-2188. And you're off to the races once you've got these things, aren't you?
Yes, sir. And take advantage of the promotion we have right now with the free training with front sites for people who've not done other platforms. It's a great way to do it. It is not boot camp. I'm taking my son there in 2 days, and he's going to take his second skilled handgun class. I want to get him into the event. So he's excited
Leon,
about that.
Have fun. Be safe there. We appreciate that.
Take care.
Have you back next week. Well, thank you, sir. Okay, that's it. Thank you. That's it for the day. Get your medical supplies, your energy cleaner, your essential oils now while you can, your firearms, ammunition. Never, ever give up your guns. Please do have a fun, safe, productive day. And God bless America.